Hey, ever feel stuck and wonder why some people achieve greatness while others remain average? Join me, Mark Jean, and Beyond Average to Great as we uncover the secrets to breaking free from mediocrity and unlock the greatness within you. Through inspiring stories and insights from people who have changed their lives, you'll learn how strong decisions and bold actions can take you to the next level. Let's go. Okay, welcome to another episode of Beyond Average to Great. And our guest today is Michael Short. He is the Crestron Senior Marketing Director, and Michael is a highly accomplished marketing and communications executive with over 2 decades of experience building successful brands and leading high-performance teams. He is currently the Senior Director of Marketing Operations for Crestron Electronics, a world leader in control solutions for homes, super yachts, and corporations around the world. So, Michael, welcome.
No, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me. It's awesome to join you. And as we were just saying before we went live, we haven't seen each other for a while. We've missed each other on a couple of shows, so it's really great to reconnect. And hopefully I can bring some insights and some fun to the podcast today.
Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to our conversation. So how did you get connected with Crestron?
Oh, well, I've been at Crestron now for, I think it's coming on 8 years. And I've done 2 stints at Crestron. I took a short 2-year sabbatical at a lighting company that was a really sort of great startup experience for me. It was outside of the industry that we work in. It was lighting control for large stadia and airports. But in total, it's been about 8 years at Crestron. And prior to that, I'd worked for a number of sort of financial technology companies and design companies in London, dealing with things like high net worth automobiles, Porsche, Ferrari, Aston Martin from a design agency standpoint, and in my early days, sort of a financial technology. So I had a breadth of experience, and an old colleague of mine, and this is how many things work within our world, moved to Crestron and hit me up for an opportunity here. And that was about 8, 9, 10 years ago now. And since then, I've sort of been flying through the Crestron world, learning more about AV and technology, and specifically focusing on the residential side, which is what you're touching on there when we talk about homes and super yachts, and of course other places where people live, such as hotels. So yeah, it's been a while, but Crestron is an extremely fast-paced organization. So getting here and staying here is really not difficult for someone like me.
So you're familiar with like the luxury brands and things like that. So it was a fairly easy transition, I guess, going to Crestron.
Yeah, I think from a brand standpoint, there was some great alignment with some of the previous work I'd done. I think it was the technology shift that was very, very, was a little bit challenging to begin with my background focusing more on business and finance versus the technologies that we integrate. I think when you look at the Crestron portfolio and the thousands of products and SKUs that we manufacture and pull together, that was probably the hardest transition. Yes, from a brand alignment into this more luxury high-end feel, that was something that I didn't struggle with to begin with, but absolutely learning the technology and how this came together was something that took a little while. But you know this technology better than I do, and probably ever can do with the years of experience you have. So I think that bringing the technology together was probably the biggest struggle to begin with. And you know, your podcast Beyond Average to Great, I do think that to get great at something, it is those little things that you really need to be able to grasp onto. I talk with people like yourself, designers, architects, every single day, and if your level of knowledge isn't up there, it's very difficult to align and see eye to eye in some of these conversations. I mean, do you agree with that? You know, this level of that knowledge in our industry needs to be up there.
Yeah, I 100%, because we want to be their trusted technology provider. So that if we can make their life simple so they don't have to sit here and learn all of this stuff, how to integrate these different systems into their projects, we can be that trusted advisor that they can rely on. So if we have that knowledge and skill set, it adds a benefit to them and we can serve them better. So for those that might not be familiar with Crestron, especially Crestron Home, their new platform, can you give us a little background on that?
Yeah, sure. So Crestron has been around for over 50 years. We're a privately owned technology company based out of the US, but with a global footprint and providing technology and solutions all over the world. We've got around 2,000 employees. So we're a pretty big firm with regards to the technology side of things and the work that we do. We deliver solutions across various channels, whether it's commercial applications in education, in government, and corporations. And then, of course, the side that we're kind of focusing on today, which is our residential and sort of living applications. We started out as a control company. That was the heart and basis of everything we did at the beginning. And this was from controlling shades to controlling lights to controlling meeting room scenarios. And the heart and the beat of what Crestron was all around control. If you fast forward 50 years, that is still the beating heart of what we do. We kind of live by 3 C's in our company, and that's control, that's content, and in the commercial side, collaboration. And those 3 C's still stand by everything that we build and we make. From the residential side, our focus really is on content and control. So Crestron Home essentially is a platform. It's an operating system that brings together and integrates technologies across the entire home, whether that's lighting, shading, audio, video, or third-party solutions that are outside the Crestron ecosystem. And when I say third-party, it's because actually Crestron manufactures pretty much every element that could go into a modern smart home. But in today's world, the driving and the biggest trend is seamless integration with others. And that is a core of what we do from our control standpoint. Second element, content. This is what we talk about on the residential side as entertainment everywhere. The home is all about the people that live there and what they can do within their house, whether it's having a dinner, a party, chilling out in the evening after work, or just settling down on the sofa. Content and entertainment is that beating theme that goes throughout the home. And for Crestron, that is all about audio and video solutions. So whether that's distributing audio and video, whether that's speakers, we also focus on those elements. But of course, the control brings in everything like control of lights. We manufacture shades. So we are that company that sort of seamlessly integrates all of these solutions into the smart home and makes them truly personalized to the end user and the customer, delivers something that is of exceptional performance at the highest security and deeply customized, but all sold directly through our professional channel of integrators like yourself. So we do not sell direct to customers. You are the trusted technology advisors in the home. So we don't want to touch direct to consumer. So we are a direct to professional channel like yourself, and you're the ones who make the magic happen. So that's kind of Crestron and Crestron Home in a nutshell. Did I miss anything? Would you layer anything on top of that?
I mean, the only thing that I think that as a technology advisor or professional, sometimes we forget about the experience that we're creating for homeowners. And so I think that's one thing that we should focus more on, because what you talked about was like, the content, being able to watch your Apple TV or whatever other content you want to stream from the different apps that are there on any TV in the home, being able to control that in a single platform so that it's the same experience on each TV, each location. I think that's one of the things for us, a selling point to the homeowner, is to simplify things, to create an experience that doesn't make technology complicated, but it makes it more simple. And so for us, that's what Crestron Home does.
Absolutely. And I think that when you look at that simplification, it's got to be easy for everyone who lives there, but also people who come to visit. Nobody wants to pick up the remote control and not know how to switch the source. No one wants to go to the keypad on the wall and not know which button to press to do something. And the art in all of this is, yes, we build that operating system so that it can be refined and defined and customized, but it's the relationship that you have with the customer that allows you to create that personalized, simplified experience. Because yes, we develop the operating system, we develop the products, the remotes, the keypads, how they will look and feel, but everybody needs a different experience. I know in my house, where I'm sat right now in my office, I have a keypad on the wall, a Crestron keypad with 6 buttons on it. One of those buttons is a button that's called Peloton, because I connect this Peloton through our Bluetooth device straight into my distributed audio system. So when I get on the bike, I have a studio feel. Now, I have a single button on the wall that does that. There probably aren't that many people who have that single button on the wall to do that. But for me, it was important that I walk in here, I press my Peloton button, and I know as soon as that fires up, I'm going to get studio sound in my little gym area back here. Now, you're the one who would have the conversation with the customer to know that they want that, or even they didn't know they wanted that, but you can advise them on that. So that's absolutely where that customization and that experience comes from. But we have to deliver the platform and the products to allow you to go and deliver that type of experience and conversation.
Yeah. Now, one of the things that, our industry being, used, like one of the words that used to be thrown around a lot is custom integrators. And I think what Crestron Home, that platform, has done, it's made it easy for us to support because it's a uniform platform for each project that we do. So even though there's some subtle differences depending on what the user's requests are, it's going to look the same, it's going to feel the same. So whether they have their main home, second home, or vacation home, or for us to support, especially from a support standpoint, it's going to be very similar so that we know how to support it and we can train our team. So that's one of the things that I really like about Crestron Home.
And exactly that. We're all used to having an Apple iPhone with iOS, and everybody gets delivered that succinct, singular visual or control experience. We all know how to move apps around, but obviously I can customize that experience to me, whether I want to use Siri, whether I want to put apps in folders, whether I want certain apps available or not. The whole curated experience on the phone is something that I can do. And it's exactly the same with an OS for a smart home. If we can standardize on what that visual aspect looks like and what that flow for the customer feels like, we can deliver a unique experience to everybody, but based on a platform that has real robustness and that can really perform at the highest level. So the reason for listeners who maybe don't understand where we're going here is Crestron's history in the smart home was actually built on custom programming. So the whole of Crestron's residential business before the Crestron Home operating system was delivered by our integrators who would physically program and code every single home independently. They would deliver a user experience totally unique, an on-screen experience for our touchscreens and phones that was in many cases totally unique for every single user, and then support every user independently based on their code. Now, we still have that business. That is still on board our super yachts. Every single one of them is a custom solution. Every dealer we work with probably does 1 or 2 jobs that they are so unique that they have to go down the custom route. So Crestron still delivers that. But 80% of the business is based on this operating system platform, which is called Crestron Home. So that delivers exactly what you were saying, Mark, that robustness, that ability to support and deliver that unified experience, whilst also having that really customized experience that a customer could go after as well. And it really does deliver a high performance smart home
Yeah.
for the.
Yeah. I mean, just for us, that's one of the reasons we like it a lot, just because of how simple it is to set up, configure, and program compared to Crestron Simple. Because we don't have to have an on-staff programmer now that's had all this, training and years of experience. It's something that we can manage and maintain ourselves without having that, and make sure that we serve our clients with the skills and knowledge that we have. Now, let's talk about integration too, like third-party integration, what you talked about. How well does Crestron Home integrate with third-party devices like Lutron, Apple HomeKit, Josh AI, some of the other, or just even HVAC devices and thermostats? How well does it integrate with those?
Well, Crestron Home is an open ecosystem. So we have what we call extensions and drivers. And these are the plugins that communicate with other platforms. We also have a native integration program whereby some of these solutions natively integrate into Crestron Home. So let's talk about, say, Lutron, for example. Lutron have a beautiful lighting solution called Ketra. And for us, natively integrating with Ketra was really important. We know that the high-end homes that you guys are working in, that lighting solution is something that the designer potentially would already have picked out. They want a Lutron Ketra solution. So for us, we work directly with Lutron to deliver a native integration. What that means is within Crestron Home, when you go to our simple setup application, you discover Ketra and it integrates natively into the platform, and you then get the incredible Crestron Home experience on the front end, your ability to finely tune circadian lighting or color tune your lights, but it's native. So, we essentially play as nice as possible to bring it in. Now, I'm not going to name names, but we have Lutron people who've turned around and said, the experience that we deliver with Ketra is the best on the market, bar none. And we're pretty proud of that.
I will testify to that because I've got Ketcher here in the studio, and but I love, Lutron is one of our partners as well that we work with a lot, and so I love that partnership that you guys have with Lutron because it makes it seamless to integrate. Because once we set everything up in Lutron, as long as in Crestron Home all of the room names match and everything's the same, it just pulls everything right in and makes it so simple for us. And just the experience for the end user, for the homeowner, is seamless. And we love that.
Exactly. And lighting is a really core part of the home. And we know that the discussions around lighting can happen really early on the job. And if you've got lighting designers involved, it's an extremely complex and emotive decision. And I think for us within Crestron, integrating with key lighting partners is extremely important. Another one from the professional side of things, before I maybe talk about Philips Hue as an outlier here, is we recently launched a partnership with DMF with their new lighting protocol called Phase X. Phase X is, DMX over power, essentially. And DMX is extremely complicated to work with and program. And their new Phase X solution means that you can bring DMX obviously over power, which simplifies retrofitting and jobs, but it brings it straight into Crestron Home. So we now become that control platform for both the integrator and the customer. So again, it's a native integration with that protocol to make your lives easier, of course, as well as the experience for the end user. Another lighting example is Philips Hue. Of course, Philips Hue is a DIY solution. You can go and buy it on Amazon. You can get it in stores. But we know that customers might have the odd light bulb in the corner that's Philips Hue, maybe a strip light that's gone in separately. And you may go in and actually say to a customer, look, in this room, Philips Hue is going to be a real nice solution to deliver some great smart lighting from an architectural standpoint. So we again natively integrate with Philips Hue. We discover their hub just like we would a keypad or a TSR touchscreen remote. And then you get that same, the customer knows no difference. They are just getting a lighting solution on their end that is integrated into the platform.
Yeah.
So it really is powerful to play nice.
It is. And, just Philips Hue, to bring that, you brought that up. We have that in our home as well. So we set that up in our son's room to kind of give him some fun lighting and some RGB or color lighting that he can play with. And it was so cool how it integrated into Crestron Home, so that he's got the ability not only just to control the lights, turn them on and off, but to play with the colors and have those presets, in Crestron Home, so he doesn't have to go in and out of the app all the time. So,
and I think that simplicity is key, and that goes beyond some of the the professional solutions. Philips Hue is DIY, but look, it's on the edge. We've all used it. I've got it here in certain areas, and I expect in some homes they will also, continue to have elements, but the integration goes beyond just some of these, more professional level platforms. I've got my Bosch dishwasher connected to Crestron Home because for me, I want to make sure that I utilize the right time of day for when the dishwasher might start up. So we recently announced something that we call conditionals and sequences, which allows you to get really clever with how you curate things in the house. So I can now tell the system, to delay the start of the washing machine to 2 a.m. If I'm at home and if the sensor knows that I'm in the house. So we can start playing with really smart conditionals. One we actually just launched with a CSP of ours is a Tesla integration. Now you get control of the Tesla within Crestron Home. Yes, it's limited to things like temperature, door locks, horns. There's a list of things that you can do. It's cool, right? It's great. I now see Tesla on my touch screen and on my phone, but it gets really smart when you start tying it in to sequences. If it's Monday and Friday and the temperature outside is below 0, please turn the heating on in my Tesla at 7 a.m. And you start to tie sequences within the entire home into some of these third-party integrations. I mean, we have thousands of them, thousands of third-party devices that are within Crestron Home. And when you start getting really clever with the conditional if-then-when statements, you're able to add a whole new level of control within the platform, which just brings that complete customization to what your customers might actually want.
Yeah, I think that's smart too, because I know Crestron has their own lighting solution, their own shading solution, their own thermostats, which are great and nice, but sometimes clients already have things in their home that they don't want to just swap out. And so it's easy to come in and say, oh, we integrate with Ecobee, or we integrate with these other thermostats or other devices. So that, to me as an integrator, that makes the most sense, that you play nice with at least the main. I know there's so many companies out there doing all these Internet of Things type devices, but to me, the ones that Crestron is selected to partner with are ones that are probably the most popular devices, but also the more stable devices to work with.
Yeah, look, one thing I would always say to any customer, or to a designer, or to someone like yourself, is don't let a single device dictate an entire system, because there's always, ways to create drivers and extensions outside of the ones that currently exist. We developed hundreds of them this year. There'll be more to come in 2025. We have a great network of CSPs who their job is to build drivers and extensions. So we can always look to find a way if there is something really sticky that we're struggling on. But ultimately, it's finding that balance between what does the system deliver versus that one piece of the pie that might actually not necessarily be needed or need to be developed immediately for the smart home to give the customer what it wants, really.
Yeah. So how does Crestron Home, how is it different than some of the other control systems that are out there? What makes it stand out in your opinion?
Well, I think a big thing for us is legacy. When you look at the fact that we've been around for over 50 years, there's something to be said about having trust and longevity when it comes to putting a control platform and products in your house. We've seen this on multiple occasions. I've seen it in the past 8 years. And Mark, you've been in the industry longer than I have, where the next big product comes along or solution, and 2 years later, it doesn't exist anymore. It's gone. What do you say to your customer who you're relying on for repeat business? Because when they move homes, when they get their second home, their third home, when they get their super yacht, maybe not for all of them, but, when they have their country homes or they just simply move house, you want them to call you again because you've delivered a solid performing solutions that's enhanced the home that they live in. If you've put a solution into the house that just stopped working after 2 years or doesn't get any updates or doesn't grow over time, are they going to trust you when you say, hey, I'm going to put this next new system in your house? It's the next big thing. So I think where we stand out, one is that legacy and trust. We've been around for over 50 years. We've been innovating throughout that time. We were first to market with digital media and networked audio and video. We've got patents for hundreds of products. So I think having that legacy and trust of the manufacturer is one thing that I think is really important. And the reason we have that trust is the quality of products. I don't think that anyone in the industry, in the professional channel, would question Crestron's quality of their hardware. And this is what, during the supply chain situations, was unwavering for us. And we upset a lot of dealers because we couldn't make enough product quick enough, but we were never going to waive on the quality of our product. And I think that's a key element too.
Yeah. And to that point, it was painful for us during that time with the supply chain shortage, but other integrators that we've worked with or collaborate with or that we know that started using other platforms that basically lowered their standard for the chips and the computer parts they were having a lot of returns, having to return products because they weren't working and get reinstall, spend a lot of time reinstalling things or getting having a new part sent out for them. And so to that, I appreciated that Crestron has a high standard when it comes to the products that and the parts that go into their products, because it lets us know that it's going to work as intended. They've tested it and they, warranty it for, I think it's 5 years. Is that the warranty on it?
So 5 years if it goes through a particular program at Crestron, which is utilizing our sales support services. So yeah, it's 5 years. We also have like limited lifetime warranties on things like lighting and shade motors. So we have a ton of programs that offer not just 5 years, but lifetime on certain things. And that quality is really so important in the house because everything has to be reliable. Now, the other thing that you get with Crestron that maybe you don't get with other manufacturers is a lot of our products have been manufactured and tested to work in the largest companies and corporations in the world, whether it's the White House through to Google, Facebook, Deloitte, like these huge corporations that we have case studies on, trust and rely on Crestron hardware and solutions. And it's the same stuff going into there that's going into people's homes, because the products and platforms that we are building aren't just made for just our residential sector. They're built knowing that they're either coming from there to us or to us to there. NAX, for example, our audio distribution platform was built for residential, but is actually now going into some of the biggest projects in the world outside. So, many of our competitors don't have that level of quality and requirement of reliability based on who we're doing our work from. And then I think just one more thing on what makes us different. I think it's the dealers that we work with. We are committed to the professional channel. We're committed to supporting our dealers, their training, their people, the programs that we deliver, the support that we give them. We're not looking to charge dealers and end users recurring fees. This is all based on what can we do to maximize how our dealers can run amazing businesses, thrive with their teams, and be the true blue partners that we want them to be. And that is an unwavering commitment from us, that we're here to support the professional channel. And some other competitors are on the DIY side. That's not the heart of what they want to do.
Yeah, yeah. So where do you see the future of smart home automation, and how is Crestron positioning itself in that evolution?
Now, if I asked you that question, right, what would be, and I'm actually doing a presentation in 2 days' time on the future of smart home control. So the reason I look to my left is I've got a huge deck that I'm going to be delivering. If I asked you the question, what would be the number one thing that comes to mind right now?
AI.
And it really is the topic, and the only topic at the moment that I think matters to 5, 10 years down the line, and not even that far, like immediately 1 year down the line. AI is the hottest thing. What's really interesting though is, if I'd asked you that question 3 years ago or even 2 years ago, I guess the answer might have been voice.
Mm-hmm.
We all jumped on voice as the future, as everything to do with the home. And I think we've all come to realize that voice is a nice addition to the home, but without physical touch points,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think a smart home system works. I think that there is always going to be a need for that physical touch, the movement, the control devices that still exist in the traditional aspect. They will get better, but I think that voice is just a nice addition, and we haven't seen our entire industry switch to voice. And from your standpoint, how many jobs do you put voice on? Is it every job? Is it some jobs? Is it because customers are like, no, I don't need it? Like, from the voice standpoint, where is that now for you?
When the supply chain shortage hit, we started using Josh AI more for simple control, because they have a voice element. Although exactly what you're talking about, they've realized that voice should not be the primary lead when it comes to a home automation, that you do have to have touch points. But it's really cool to be able to say, hey, Josh, lower the shades and dim the lights 15% and turn on ESPN, and to have it do that. Sometimes voice, I found with me too, because growing up in Houston, Texas, sometimes my accent can trip up Josh, but it's not as, sometimes it's just easier to grab a remote, hit a button, it turns on, you're not thinking about it. You don't have to say the command a couple of times because it didn't hear you correctly. But it is nice to be able, if you forget to turn the lights off, or if you're just sitting there and you just want the lights to dim, you can, have it dim the lights. But having a physical button is, I think, the lead of what you should do, and voice should be an add-on.
I think so too. And I think, the natural voice commands that Josh deliver are beautiful, and it works fantastically well. But it is just that layer on to, other control devices. I use Siri quite regularly, and like you said, it works most of the time. But do I use it every single day? No, I still switch the lights on as I walk into a room, and I still pick up the remote, and I don't want to interrupt my wife when she's talking to me to say, change the music. I want to go and do that via a touch point. So moving on from voice, and the reason I was mentioning that is because that trend was everything, and we did conferences and everything around the importance of voice. But now, truly, AI is going to be a big game changer. And I think that where we're focused on is how can we use AI to support you as an installer, as a dealer, as a technology advisor, and make what you can do with regards to AI power better versus just delivering commands within the house. I don't yet think we're at a point where the end user really knows how AI is going to power the smart home. It's all about the data and the data inputs that go into AI that will really push us into the future. So, let's say biometrics, right? I have a Whoop and it tracks my sleep, tracks my activity. Excuse me, sorry. How could I connect the data of my Whoop into the data of my house to give me suggestions about things that I could do better? For example, maybe it knows that I'm sleeping poorly during certain times of day. It also knows at certain times of the year. It also knows that my shades are opening maybe 10 minutes early or 15 minutes late. Could AI realize that my sleep pattern, depending on the year, is connected to maybe the way my shades are opening at certain times, and make a suggestion to shift my natural light coming in the house based on that data? When I move around the house, how is my body flowing? What am I doing? My step count? Are there ways that could be incorporated into the way that I use the home when we think about lights, when we think about shades? So I think that the real power of AI on the front end is going to be bringing all the data points from everything, both from the home and the things that we maybe wear or use, and making suggestions on those changes. The back end, though, is all about how do we support you? How do we help you deliver systems faster, better? How do we allow you to use the data that you're getting from your clients' homes to make better choices and suggestions? Sorry, man. It was ISE last week, which is a huge trade show in Europe, and it's 4 days, and I've come back with a really sore throat and cough. When you think about repeating button presses, what are the buttons? Maybe you could get data from the house that says you've got a keypad with 6 buttons on, but only 2 of those buttons have ever been pressed. Would you like to go back and make that touch point simpler by removing the buttons they never use? How do we serve you the data to help you perform better, quicker, and elevate the experiences you deliver? And support. How do we deliver ways that you can troubleshoot quicker? That for us is 50 years worth of data that if we can do something very clever with, we can deliver something to you of huge value.
That's exciting to me to see how to use AI that way. How we started using AI is just in our business to help us market to our clients. We started inputting into ChatGPT as the platform. We've put our knowledge base in there, like how to reboot the Crestron TSR 310. We've put a lot of that in there. And then I also, just from a conference I went to, a Create conference this past weekend in Atlanta, they talked about AI and being able to input your business, your core values as a company, who you are, just you as an individual, like who I am, and put all of that information into ChatGPT so that when you collaborate with it, it's giving, it's communicating in the way you would talk and how you would act. And so a real quick story, we had a client that we'd worked with for years. They built a new home. This was about 7 years ago, and the builder kind of leaned them into going with another company, a home integration company, because they were bigger and they felt that they would be able to, serve them better. So they ended up going with that company. But 7 years later, they've had, they're looking to do something different. And I got a phone call on Friday from this client and said that, kind of given me all this information about what is going on. She said that, she started researching because they want to add security cameras, what security cameras work with Crestron, all of this stuff. And then when she did that, she asked ChatGPT what, home technology companies are reliable, that service their clients well, that have integrity, that are accountable. So all of these things, some of those are our core values. It pops up with Ardent Integrated. So she reached out to me again, and so she wants us to come back and kind of expand their system and update their system. So one way to use AI from a business standpoint is make sure it knows who you are, and for marketing. So
100%. It's the future of search is going to be AI generated versus the standard Google search. So for us as a business, we're doing the same things that you're doing. We're trying to make our content all available through AI engines so that we can be found, so that we're giving the right answers. And we're already starting to see some of those results when customers do ask questions around certain things that we now pop up with reference documents. So it's a really exciting time, but I think we have to make sure that we don't rush to market with an AI solution that is a little bit flimsy or potentially doesn't add the value that customers need. We're taking our time with this one so that when we do release some AI features, it's really beneficial to the professional like yourself as well as our customers. But it's super exciting. But nobody can be left behind. If you're not using it in your day-to-day job, if you're not using it to support the work you do, now is the time. You got to it takes a lot. You have to learn, you have to study. It's a really exciting time for sure.
Well, one last question, and then I'll let you rest your voice. So what advice would you give to homeowners, maybe architects or interior designs that are considering Crestron for their projects?
I think the big thing for me is a well-planned Crestron smart home system is an investment that can enhance your lifestyle, add value to your home. And the only true way to get that well-planned solution is to bring in a technology advisor, one of our dealers, as early as possible. Do not let the project get ahead of the technology. If you are looking to build a home, if you are looking to do something that's gonna involve technology, get the people who know it in early. The best smart homes, the best case studies I've ever seen are where someone like yourself, Mark, or other trusted technology providers are in early enough to dictate everything, not dictate, to support everyone in that process. Because like we said, the designer can choose a different lighting platform. Hey, that's okay, but let's make sure that it's done properly and integrated. So I think the biggest thing for me, for homeowners, designers, architects, is reach out to our professionals, because they're the teams who can make these spectacular homes come to life and deliver something that lasts a long, long time. Without that, you're putting band-aids over certain areas, you're pulling wires where you didn't want to. And I think for me, that's the biggest thing. The reason we sell through professionals is because you need professionals to deliver this. And that's where I would start. That's where it should all begin. And that would be probably my biggest piece of advice.
Well, I think that is great advice. So, because it always makes it easier, even for us when we're in early on projects, to be able to, share our input on what's what's possible with technology. So, Michael, thank you so much for your time, all the way from the UK. So I appreciate you. I appreciate what Crestron is doing for us as dealers. It's always encouraging to see how forward-thinking you guys are in supporting us with technology and staying on top of things. So thank you again, and look forward to seeing you at the next event.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Hey, thank you for joining us today on Beyond Average to Great. If you enjoyed this episode, the best way to show your appreciation is by subscribing to our show and sharing it on your social media channels. Don't forget to tag me when you do. We'll see you on the next episode. Until then, remember, be great.